I think for young people like me, it's hard to see a channel like ESPN have the sort of downfall that they've had in talent in I don't know necessarily what to call it because at the end of the day, it's not a hard job to talk about sports. It just isn't. All you have to know is you just have to know what you're talking about. It's one of the easiest jobs in the world. And ESPN has gone from having talented people at that network to having as many just random people that they can get come onto shows like First Take and just spout off about random nonsense bullshit that has nothing to do with what anybody is ever talking about. And the latest example is Chris Russo, Mad Dog. Um, Listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like I am the guy to be offended about the comments that were made by Russo because at the end of the day, I'm not in the league. Like, his comments don't offend me. Here's what the comments do to me. It makes me question what the job is for ESPN. Like, what's their goal? Because obviously when you have somebody like Russo, especially paired up with a personality like Stephen A. Smith and a former player like JJ Redick, I think ESPN knows all Russo is there to do is generate headlines. By what he says, he's there to generate I wouldn't say anger. I would just say he's there to generate heated debate. Now, you could call that a talent. I don't necessarily know if that's really what talent is. Um, because when you say things like shut up and play about Draymond Green, and you try to push this notion that people around the league and Warrior fans especially are tired of seeing Draymond Green do what he does, listen, I don't think anybody in Golden State is tired of Draymond Green. That man is one of the main reasons that the Golden State Warriors have won 3 championships in the past, 9 years, 8 years? I don't think there's anybody in Golden State that wants to see Draymond Green stop doing what he's doing. And JJ Redick said the exact same thing when Russo said the shut up and play thing. Now, ESPN, I didn't even realize this. I don't know how often you guys watch ESPN or used to watch ESPN. I would think in my high school days, like ESPN was on my TV almost 24/7. I would fall asleep with it on. I'd wake up with it on. I'd be coming home from school. I'd be watching ESPN while I do my homework, or I'd be watching ESPN. Like, it was just always on in my house. And as I've gotten older, I've seen guys come and go from ESPN, and I've seen guys who have left ESPN and how they talk about that company and how they talk about that network. Listen, some of the most successful people in sports broadcasting and sports analyzing, I guess, the general analyzing of basketball and sports in general, a lot of them are people who have left ESPN. The only major talent that has never left ESPN, and this is just yet, is Stephen A. Smith. And even then, it's like, people are kind of getting tired of Stephen A. Smith. I don't know if that's necessarily, the fact that he's still at ESPN, if that's really his call, because I don't know who's really lining up for ESPN. Or for ESPN, for Stephen A. Smith. I don't know who's lining up to just, sign Stephen A. Smith to just some major contract. And even in just talking about that, like, I understand, like, that doesn't matter. Like, none of that shit matters. Because at the end of the day, what I say, what Stephen A. Smith says, what anybody says on ESPN has no effect on anything that actually happens, whether it's a real life situation or whether it's sports related. None of the shit matters. But what does matter is saying things like shut up and play, or trying to push narratives like fans of Draymond Green don't like him, or fans of players uh, don't like certain players. Like, ESPN is not in the business of cooperating with the players that they broadcast and they analyze. They don't cooperate with the players. They treat the players as if they are their commodity. And I say that in meaning that whenever they are on television, whenever ESPN is on television now, it seems like it's how close can we come to degrading these players as much as possible, but make it seem as cordial and coordinated and polite, I guess is one way to put it, as possible. And this is something that I've brought up a few times before. You know, when the media at ESPN, and listen, it's not only ESPN that's doing it, I understand, but ESPN as the biggest network and channel in sports television, they have, they have to do better in how they go about what their headlines are going to be about certain guys. When Zion Williamson had his weight issue this year, you basically could go onto any ESPN NBA website and you would find quotes about analysts and whoever it is at ESPN basically calling Zion Williamson fat. Like, like Zion Williamson, and that's a stupid thing to say because the guy has not played in however many years. Of course he's going to look bigger than what he looks like on the court. He hasn't gotten back to the fucking court yet. How stupid are you? But it's also like, okay, this guy is a generational type athlete. You think it's going to be hard for him to lose a little bit of weight? Like, there's no point in calling him fat because he's not like he's going to suit up and play 35 minutes tomorrow. If this was the regular season, he's not playing. Of course he looks bigger. He's not playing. But it's also like, it's almost disrespectful to me. And I don't want to say I'm the only one being disrespected, but it's like, what they say is for people to watch. And for them to think that's what I want to watch, it's almost disrespectful to me because that's not what I want to see. I don't want to see guys calling Zion fat, or I don't want to see guys, I don't want to see Stephen A. Smith pushing this stupid fucking narrative that LeBron James, the Lakers should be enticed by the chance to trade LeBron James. Like, that's just really bad. That's really bad journalism. It's really bad. It's not good marketing because, like, what are you actually going to say that is plausible in that sort of conversation? Oh, well, if you look around the league, guys, teams would be lining up to trade for LeBron. No, they're not. 2 or 3 teams might call LA this year about a trade for LeBron James. At the most, 5 teams. Because everybody knows what kind of asset LeBron is at this point. He's still an incredible asset, but he's still a 37-year-old, possibly going to be on the decline asset within the next year and a half, who is going to be in a contract year and could leave if he does not like the situation. Teams are not going to be lining up for that. And it's like, man, I remember, and here's another, just about the talent, and I kind of want to just wrap this up, so I'm going to end it with this, This is just my final piece of, the guys that come into ESPN now. I don't know if you guys remember who Will Kane is. I might put a picture up of him on the screen, but he has some notorious arguments with Stephen A. Smith over the years. And not only Stephen A. Smith, but many other guys as well at ESPN. And now that guy works for Fox fucking News. Like, I'm not a political guy. Say whatever you want to say about Fox News. But the fact that the only other thing... Because name another ESPN analyst you see do anything else other than be an ESPN analyst. Those guys don't go to coaching jobs. The only guy that we've seen really in sports media who, like, went from the media to the NFL or the NBA or anything like that in the last few years is Mike Mayock when he got the GM job for the Raiders. And even that didn't last very long. So it's like, the only other job that these guys can get on television is being a talking head on Fox News. Like when I saw Will Kane on Fox News, I was almost dumbfounded. But it makes perfect sense why he'd work for Fox News. Because ESPN and Fox News are the exact same channel. They're going to have people on there yelling things at you that you might not fully understand and that they probably don't fully understand as well, but they're going to say it in such a convincing fashion that even if they don't believe it, they're going to say it so convincingly. They're going to convince you to think about it, and they're going to convince you to think that way. And they're going to convince you that you should go tell all your friends that this is how it is and this is how it's going to be and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's the only thing that these people can do is get on a TV and yell at you in your living room. And I'm just here to say, like, I'm not the first person to say it. I won't be the last person to say it. But ESPN is dead. Their shows have no more relevance. They rely on things that are not really what matter for sports media. I'm not going to go into all that because that could be like a 30-minute video. But ESPN is dead. And like I said, even seeing guys like JJ Redick be on First Take and defend Draymond Green and the players of the NBA when he got pissed off at Russo about the shut up and play thing. It's disrespectful that JJ Redick was even there to hear that. Because JJ Redick does not need ESPN. JJ Redick was one of the most successful players from his draft class. He was a very successful NBA player, made a shit ton of money, and is making a lot of money doing something that I think he loves with his own podcast. He does not need ESPN. And for them to have him there to hear something like that come out of Chris Russo's mouth, if I was JJ Redick, I wouldn't even say what I would have done. I probably would have slapped him in the mouth if I was JJ Redick, because that's so disrespectful. It's disrespectful, and it's ignorant, it's negligent, and it's just downright stupid. And it disrespects everybody's time who put in work on that show and everybody who watched the show. It's just a real waste of time.